Welcome back to my channel, folks, and after a very small vacation with my family down in the Florida Keys, I'm back with some more Call of Duty shotgun goodness. And if you're new here, first off, welcome, and thanks for checking me out. If you like seeing weapon guides and Call of Duty content and shotgun content, be sure to subscribe and let me know what you think of the channel. Today's video, as you probably saw from the title, is going to be exploring what was probably one of the most controversial topics of the game when it was first released and even in the beta, but it quickly died down not long after the initial release. Now, stopping power rounds are a field upgrade that add a multiplier to your ammo, making it deal more damage, and how much depends on the gun you choose, of course. Some guns get an absolutely huge buff with it, while some are a little bit more subtle and they aren't worth running with stopping power. Now, Exclusive Ace had made a video on stopping power a few months back, and I highly encourage you guys to check it out, but I was sad to see he didn't quite cover the shotguns in depth with it, so I wanted to go ahead and check it out for myself. We're going to go over all of the shotguns one by one and their effects with stopping power, how it affects slug rounds, and also take a look at the Snakeshot attachment for the 357 and see how it fares with stopping power. Now, how does stopping power work as a field upgrade? Well, when you load in stopping power, you'll notice that your crosshairs light up this orangish color, and that means that your shot is going to be more powerful and that stopping power is activated. Now, with all of these shotguns, you get the equivalent of one full load of ammo depending on your mag size. Now, the only exception here is the 725, which gets 6 stopping power rounds total. As soon as the white crosshairs are back, stopping power has been used up, and that's how you know. So let's get right into it, starting with the Model 680 shotgun. As you would expect with the 680 and with all of the shotguns really, stopping power will deal more damage per pellet, making your shotgun not only have a better one-shot kill range, but also have a bit more consistency to them as well. Now, if you manage to hit less pellets with stopping power on, you have a higher chance of getting the kill even with those less pellets since they deal more damage. For the base Model 680 shotgun, we have a one-shot kill of 14 meters. Stopping power will bump that up all the way to 19 meters. That's pretty impressive, and while this is great in theory, one thing to keep in mind with all the shotguns is that pellet spread is random, and that can really mess you up sometimes, and that explains a lot of the inconsistencies you get when you probably use the shotgun. So these ranges may not be exact, but I found ranges where I was getting the most consistent one-shot kills. So I actually got like 20 meters one time, 21 meters another time, but 19 is where I was getting it most consistently. So I also tested these on a non-moving target, so basically these were tested in the best conditions possible, but that should give you an idea of the strength of stopping power. For the Liberator barrel and the Sport barrel, the one-shot ranges increased to about 20 meters. I couldn't really find that much of a difference between these two, with the Liberator getting a jump from 16 to 20 meters and the Sport going from 17 to 20. The SWAT barrel got a 3 meter increase from 12 to 15 meters, which is actually pretty nice considering how much of a annoying barrel that is to use, but having to rely on stopping power to make that SWAT barrel viable is not the smartest move in my opinion, so I decided to see what the longest one-shot kill range I could get with the Sport barrel and Marauder suppressor on the 680 would be, and I got about 23 meters overall, which is kind of ridiculous, honestly. But again, this is in the best conditions possible, so don't expect everyone to die in one shot in that range, but the potential is there. Next up, we're going to take a look at the R90 shotgun, and we have a pretty significant boost to its performance. As you know, the one-shot range for this shotgun and its barrels is pitiful, as with the Origin as well, and it's basically about 4 meters flat, give or take a tiny minuscule amount of difference. Putting stopping power on it, though, bumped up my one-shot kill range to a massive 13 meters for the base barrel. Now remember, this is a 2-tap shotgun, so if you aim down sights and hit most of your pellets, you can one-tap people at a range that's a bit better than the pre-stealth nerf R90, which is pretty amazing. Stopping power is definitely worth it on this shotgun, and unless your aim is really off, most of your engagements will be a 2-shot kill at the most. The TAC Sentry and TAC Wide Shot barrel basically had the same range increase with a 1 meter of difference, and the suppressor didn't really add any range to the barrels as well. So for the R90, I definitely recommend you guys checking it out with stopping power. Change it up a bit and make a fun class. It's a lot of fun to blast people from that far in one shot. Give it a shot and let me know what you think. The 725 out of all the shotguns surprisingly had the least benefit with using stopping power rounds. Now, if you're like me, you were probably expecting this gun to get out of this world damage and range and to be extremely overpowered and just blow everything away, but that really wasn't the case. The base one-shot with stopping power on was about 15 meters, which isn't even as good as the Model 680 without stopping power on, which kind of blows my mind a little bit. The competition barrel did get a boost up to 20 meters, which is really nice of course, but still not as good as the Model 680. Now the best thing about stopping power on the 725 is with the sawed-off barrel attachment. I was able to one-shot at about 11 meters, which considering how the sawed-off is already really strong in its short range, it's pretty nice. The 725 in general is just the most consistent shotgun already, especially the sawed-off, which is incredibly strong in close quarters. And since stopping power doesn't do that much overall for it, I would say just avoid running stopping power on the 725. You're better running off dead silence or something like that. Last up for the shotguns, we have the Origin 12. Now the Origin 12 had virtually the same one-shot ranges as the R90, so it was around 4 meters. Now stopping power bumped up the barrels to have a one-shot kill range of 9 meters, which is incredibly strong for a semi-auto shotgun, and the Impaler barrel was actually up to about 10 meters. Since this is a semi-auto shotgun and you can spam it constantly, stopping power really helps this gun quite a bit and makes the gun usually a 2-tap monster unless your shots are a bit off as usual. Now as a note, I was aiming down sights with these guns since that does help tighten the pellet spread a little bit. Now adding the choke with the Impaler barrel actually took my one-shot range up to 13 meters, which is kind of bonkers for a semi-auto shotgun, but again, your experience in the game will probably be a little bit different since in my testing, everything was in a controlled environment. So overall, I would say all of the shotguns do have a use with stopping power, where the R90 and the Origin have the best overall increase in performance. The Model 680 is already strong, so even though stopping power would help, it's not quite as necessary, and with the 725, it has the least improvement, but it does make the sawed-off barrel even more of a close-range monster. Granted, you only have those 6 shots. Now, let's take a look at how slugs are affected with stopping power on. As of now, I cannot really recommend slugs on the Model 680 for multiple reasons. Now, of course, they're bad to begin with, but recently a bug was introduced which ruins the reload animation for slugs, and whenever you hit 0 in the ammo counter, you're basically stuck in an endless reload animation that won't let you put any shells in, so it's quite literally broken, and because of this broken reload mechanic, stopping power rounds will not work. You literally cannot load them into the gun. So as much as I would like to try them out, it simply will not work, and I don't know how long it's going to take for them to patch it. I'm assuming soon, maybe this Tuesday, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that slugs won't be that much better on the Model 680 anyway. With the other shotguns, you still need to hit the stomach and the chest area to get that one-shot kill, so I doubt the model is going to be any different. Now that that unfortunate business is out of the way, let's check out the R90. Now, this gun with slugs are actually not half bad. They're not great, and I still don't recommend them, but the furthest one-shot kill I could land with the slugs on this gun was about 30 meters. Testing slugs was a headache because they arc so bad and they don't always go where you aim, so it's just constantly retesting. But with stopping power on, that one-shot kill range basically doubled and gave me about 67 meters. So it's really strong, and honestly, I could see stopping power rounds being very useful in case you wanted to make a niche class using the R90 with slugs. Again, I don't really recommend it, especially if you want to play competitively, but it can be a lot of fun if it works, so go mess around with them in Ground War or something like that, and see how they fare with stopping power. For the 725 shotgun, well, honestly, I think it's bugged, but you only get 2 shots of stopping power with the slugs on here, and then it's gone. So right off the bat, I can't really recommend it on the 725, but also for the fact that it doesn't really need them. Slugs are great on the 725, definitely the best of the bunch, and they have a seemingly infinite one-shot range as long as you can hit that chest or headshot area, so it doesn't really need that boost. And no, leg shots do not kill in one shot even with stopping power on, so just don't even bother using it with the 725, I just cannot recommend it. The Origin 12 with slugs had a base one-shot kill range of about 7 meters. Putting stopping power on them took it up to 19 meters, which is a really nice boost, and with the ability to spam shots and get quicker follow-up shots than the other shotguns, slugs are actually pretty good to use with stopping power on the Origin 12. Of course, the biggest issues with slugs overall are the inconsistencies in aiming, where the shots land, so I don't recommend using slugs at all, unless you're just kind of trolling or going for something different, or trying to have fun in a different way. Just use them on the 725 and that's basically it. They're just gonna frustrate you, and you'd probably be better off throwing your gun at the enemy rather than using slugs on them. I'm still salty about that because slug shotguns are an absolute blast when they work, like the KSG, but oh well, what can you do? Since we've covered all of these shotguns, let's go ahead and check out the Snakeshot attachment for the 357 and how stopping power affects that. For the base 357, I could one-shot up to 10 meters, and stopping power, well, it didn't affect it at all, really. It was still 10 meters. When I played with it though, I could tell I wasn't having to be as accurate because of that extra damage per pellet it would do. So it's more consistent, which is nice, but there's no benefit to your one-shot kill range. Now with Akimbo, the range I was able to two-tap with alternating shots was about 8 meters, and that's definitely what you want to do with this gun. Shooting them both at the same time yields kind of weird results, so I tend to alternate fire. Now with stopping power, it took it up to 13 meters, so it definitely helps, and with 2 guns to spam simultaneously, it's pretty fun to use. Now is it worth running if you main the Snakeshot though? Probably not. I'd much rather use dead silence and be quick and silent rather than have to wait so long for a couple stronger shots that don't really improve the gun a huge amount. There you have it guys, that is just about going to do it for this video. Stopping power is a fun attachment to use on shotguns, but it's definitely a trade-off to use, and honestly I would prefer running dead silence over it most of the time. The only 2 exceptions I have are for the R9O and also for the Origin 12. And now for the Origin 12, I really cannot overstate how good it is to run stopping power on it. It turns the Origin into an absolute monster of a gun. Of course, you only have that 1 magazine, but it's absolutely devastating. And so I recommend running tune-up to get a faster field upgrade, but try it out with the Origin and try it out with the R9O, with the Origin being at the top of your list. For my next video, I'm going to try and cover the Master Key or Deputy attachment. Finally, I know I've talked about it a lot, but I really want to get to it now, and to show you guys my overall thoughts on the new and improved one-shot kill range for it, and how it fares as an attachment, and if you can really run it as a primary weapon on its own, like you could in Modern Warfare 2. Now with all that being said and out of the way, I hope you all have a wonderful day/night, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.